Honorable sisters, brothers, and friends. Well, I'll try again and again. I decided that my original program of Saturday I have the Saturday to Sunday religious program where I present celebrating the Mass. Then in midweek, I briefly refer to the sermon and service, what divine miracle Christ obtained. So I said that's the way I'm going to do it, is have the Wednesday and Thursday happy hour. Then I was going to have, I'm forced to present a video as the expose editor. But I just noticed some clutter on my desktop, and I don't like clutter, and as I was clearing it, I couldn't obtain Heaven Now internet program. Hey, I've had about 400 videos in the last 20 years. They all seem to disappear. I have to do some of them over again. So I said, I'm going to make a video of my internet program, Obtain Heaven Now, and I just completed that today, an hour or so ago. So that don't disappear, and it's self-explanatory. But I was going to follow that with, I'm forced to expose the video as expose editor, this S. Hawking. Now, you have to realize that the British intelligence works with the U.S. intelligence. And we know each other because they worked with that criminally insane J. Edgar Homo Hoover to experiment my brother to death. Absolutely true fact. They even used Nazi doctors from over there here in their data. And those are the same fellows that falsified the records so we can say, look at this record, we've got to invade Iraq, and we invaded Iraq. And then it was shown that they falsified those records. Isn't that correct? Now, if they would falsify that record, why wouldn't they falsify my science achievements? Isn't that correct? And that's what they've done. I did string theory, and I based it on Schrodinger's great work. And I can prove that. Well, I'm thinking of maybe publicizing it. But in the patent, and this is what they did with me with the Xerox. I'm from New York, used to work at the Experimental Development Lab, did the original Xerox, XERX, Independent Variable Mathematical Physics, gave it the name Haloid Xerox. The English then went with rank Xerox so they could make money on what they took force from me. You understand? So they took and came up with this man in a wheelchair. They said he was going to die in a couple of weeks. They said it over and over again. He's going to die in a couple of weeks. Well, I'm not going to look like any distinguished gentleman of science by saying, wait a minute, that's my work. Well, I wait 2-3 weeks, I let it, Then it was 2 months. Now he's established, and by that time, I'm trying to keep myself alive. I'm not alive because J. Edgar Homo Hoover wanted me to be alive, and the criminally insane Homo Hooverists want me to. Accidents barely survived. You have to understand that there's the same truth is stranger than fiction. I'm saying the absolute truth. Put this on a voice stress analyzer, take a polygraph lie detector test on any editor's desk. I've challenged some of them that posed as great public servants. They told the truth. Well, I'll take a lie detector test on your desk and pay for it. They won't do it. Why? I'm telling the truth. And they plain English crap out when those criminally insane J. Edgar Homo Hoovers use their racketeering power to forcibly take up my work and others. I dot the I's and cross the T's with videos of all those who have died violently who tried to get Hoover out, including JFK. You research Preacher Doc and J. Edgar, or even use Homo Hoover. I'm saying the truth. There was supposed to be a party, and I was going to be the guest because of what I had achieved in fission fusion, suggesting when, where, why, and how we should have a Super Manhattan Project. So I was absolutely at the top. Absolutely at the top. And I didn't see any girls at this party. And I figured, well, Hoover, the power. He said, well, Hoover doesn't have a party with girls. What? He says, no, he has a party with boys. What? He says, yeah, you have your choice of one of those two young fellas over there. What? I get up and stormed out. Now, I'm absolutely at the top, and Hoover has me where I'm a nobody doing nothing, and I got to try to stay alive. That's what I've survived since 1947. You figure the tremendous effort and determination and achievements by yours truly in doing what was super patriotically while they were trying to, if I die, so what, and experimenting my brother. And then they supposedly did my family a favor, saying, well, he's dying, it's better than he suffers for years. Huh? A clever criminally insane Homo Hoovers and clever British. Now, I got about this far, and it went black. So, maybe it'll go black again, and I'll start again, telling the truth, because I'm forced to expose this S. Hawking. His condition or not, I let him have the honors of my string theory, the money. That's just honors and money. That isn't life and health and knowing personally who really did what, when, where, why, and how. But when I'm now decided that man's greatest challenge is a discipline of theology, the study of all beliefs. How did we get here? Why are we here? What best to do? And I have videos that, in my opinion, prove there is a divine God and a divine Christ. By the divine miracles Christ performed before hundreds and thousands of witnesses. Yeah, every Sunday, say here's first day of the week is Dios Day, Dominico. In English they say Sunday. I have a celebrating Mass with a divine miracle proof. There's at least 40. Now, in Hawking's, with now this tremendous clout he has, like Einstein, I'm the #1 as expose editor. Dot the I's and cross the T's absolutely prove Einstein is the world's greatest plagiarist. I forgot about him by 1957. Anything that it just wasn't worth my time. Honest truth. He agreed with me in reference to what the future mathematical physics would be. But he went up against Hoover. And he says, I don't care what he says, we're going to work together. Because he agreed what he had to, that I had called a capital C transformation equation. Capital X prime is capital X minus VT over square root of 1 minus V squared over capital C squared. Capital C is equal to or greater than his little c, the velocity of light. He had to and he did agree. And I said, well, I suggest I have a unified field theory, and maybe we should work on that. And then when we're supposed to start working on it, he says, well, they tell me that I can't work with you. I thought that that's what the fellow would say, but we should. And he says, you're right. He says, we begin next week. Same day and time. And I said, thank you. the night before he drops dead. Absolutely true fact. It was recorded by his living secretary, what we discussed. She took it down in shorthand and helped me with the English with him. And then he wanted me to speak German. I says, no, I only know from my college days, ein, drei, zwei, vier, who's going to buy the beer? And he laughed. But he didn't tell me he knew Italian. That's because Nito de Pretro, one of his best friends, and Michael Basso, who helped him get in the patent office, they explained E equals mv squared to him. V, the velocity of light, and Di Pietro showed him the work and the tremendous power you would obtain in the transformation of a little matter into energy, and he did it in tons of coal energy. Absolutely true fact. That's where Einstein stole it. I defended him as my colleague and friend until I found out that he stole Di Pietro's work. Now I have to say the way it is, and it's a true fact. Einstein is the world's greatest plagiarist. Each country wants their man to be the best. The English has the longest history. Newton is the best. Well, Newton copied Galileo. Galileo's 3 laws. Well, I put it in English. Newton. Absolutely true fact. There's no way he could have wrote that book because he was a sophomore and apple dropped on his head. All of a sudden he gets all these same ideas and he writes them in perfect Latin of the laws of Galileo and so forth. There's a little refinement. It was 25 years later, but it's really Galileo's 3 laws. Then Newton wanted more money. And they said, no, he's got arguing about money. So he got angry at him. He says, hey, now I'm world famous. They don't give me the money, I'll become a bill collector because you can get the money direct. So Newton ended his career as a bill collector. And he hung people who didn't pay him because he wanted the money. Now, you don't see that in any book, right? That's true fact. That's a scientist. He was, in my opinion, he had some smarts, but they manufactured this British Newton, that it's his laws, not Galileo. And it's his calculus when they actually, who was it there, had the correct symbolization and the integral sign instead of the Roman numerals as Galileo used. Because Galileo got calculus, the Latin word, from his uncle who worked in a monastery in Italy. And when he went and visited him with his father, he would show young Galileo that it'd be good if he went into science because he was one of their intellects there and was working on how you could get a certain point in an elliptical orbit of something going around a planet or the sun. You understand? That far back. And they had it in Latin. He's like, in English it's calculate. It's Latin is calculus. He says, I'm calculating the increment of where on this. And he says, and that's what my main work is here and others. And when Galileo then started to do it, he had some idea about calculus with the Roman numerals. And of course, Newton was fed the material and he copied it. But it was really better done with the increment and the derivative and the integral sign. And that's what's used today. Now, we're hawking. Go by my office, come by it again. Then there's talk about, well, he's going to live more in 2 weeks. So how could I put up a priority issue? Challenge. 2 years. Now I'm trying to stay alive. Well, you can keep the money and the honors. I have to stay alive for myself and my family. You understand? That's more important. Voila. makes a lot of money with string theory. Fine. Now he's so famous and he's got so much clout, he starts saying there's no God. Now, I decided way back by 1972, 1975, so much power politics, so much plagiarism in science is boring. The hype of Einstein is boring. I'm going to get into man's greatest challenge, the discipline of theology. How did we get here? Why are we here? What best to do? So that's my main interest and challenge. Now, Hawkins gets into the field of theology and says there's no God. He's got millions believing there's no God because he says so. And then he says that a believer, especially a preacher like me, believes there's a heaven because I'm scared of the dark. Now that's degrading and insulting statements. You manufactured genius. So I put a video, I challenge you, Hawkins. You can keep the honors and the money. I wish you health, really. Just let's talk about theology and about if there's a God and your opinion. And I put forward proof. Anything I say, I present proof. Not chit-chat. Derogatory, insulting statements. I don't insult, I say the truth. Hawkins is another of the manufactured things that the British intelligence do. The Loch Ness Monster, the fellow's on TV 3 times, showing the wood thing he built, that he went from his hotel where he worked to his buddy at other hotel, and they filmed it as a gag. They put it on TV. But they cover it up because it's money. People fly there, and hotels, restaurants. The crop circles, they had it on TV. I don't write these jokes. I only report what I see on international, national TV. There's some things on international TV you don't see on U.S. national TV. And they showed the man how he did it. That they covered up their wheel marks and made the crops and they covered up and went. Absolutely true fact. So Hawking left science because he had money, because he wanted to be with that girl. He dumped his wife and family, and I guess they couldn't find him for 2 months, and they found him. And he said, "Why do you want science?" He said, I got money now, I want to do this. Not about science. He says, I got a little interest in science. I think they forced him back into that wheelchair routine. So keep the money, Hawkins. I wish you really health. But as far as theology, as far as saying there's no God, and believers, especially a preacher like me, believes in heaven because I'm scared of the dark, don't hide out in the dark, Hawking. You didn't answer the other video, and now this is a challenge. Come out into the light, and let's discuss your opinion about God, and I present my opinion, even from a scientific viewpoint, what I consider to be proof of God's and Christ's divinity. To the believers, of course, and those who know I'm saying the truth, thank you.